Back here on CBS Sports HQ, delivered by Papa John's, taking a look at some other notable afternoon games today besides the SEC Championship game. UCF and Tulane battling for the AAC title. And outside the FBS, Jackson State will be taking on Southern in what is likely Deion Sanders' last game with the Tigers. Chip Patterson and Tom Fornelli join us for a look at the afternoon games on this championship Saturday in college football. Guys, let's start in the AAC. Tulane has 10 wins for the first time since '98, but they've lost to UCF a few weeks ago by a touchdown. This is a de facto play-in game for a New Year's Six Bowl. Chip, Green Wave 4-point favorites. The total's 57. Who you got?
Give me the Knights and all of those points. Would not be surprised if they go in there and get another win in Yulman Stadium. But ultimately, what I feel the most confident in is that this will be a close, competitive game all the way down to the end. Because Gus Malzahn knows that he can put together a running attack that can move the ball against this Green Wave team. UCF got out to an early lead against them the first time they played and basically just defended that lead all the way to the conclusion. And that is going to be something where defensive coordinator Chris Hampton for Tulane, who's done a great job with this Green Wave defense this year, he's got to figure out a way to get some answers. Because while Tulane's very good at defending the pass, they have been shown to be liable against the run. And I think that is going to be the game plan. Gus Malzahn does a terrific job of scheming up a ground game. We know that from his extensive head coaching career. And I think that the ground game for UCF powers a cover and potentially a second win in New Orleans.
Yeah, Chip mentioned the Tulane defense stopping the run. You see Plumlee's numbers there, 848 yards rushing on the season. About 160 of those came a couple of weeks ago against this Tulane defense. And I think that is the one area of this game that is of the biggest concern to me if I am Tulane. How am I going to stop this UCF rushing attack? Because it's not just Plumlee. They come at you from a lot of different directions. It is what Gus Malzahn's offenses are built around every single season. And if Plumlee is healthy, and that is somewhat in question because he did hurt his ankle last week in that win over South Florida. But if he's healthy enough to play, I just don't know that Tulane will be able to slow down this UCF rushing attack. So I'm with Chip. I think UCF in the points is the smarter play here. I think Tulane can win the game, but I don't think they're capable of blowing this UCF team out or winning comfortably. I think it's going to be a lot like we saw a few weeks ago when the game was played in New Orleans. Two teams that can move the ball on offense against two teams that have trouble stopping each other from moving the ball. This could be something of a tennis match, back and forth kind of affair. So in that kind of game, I'm going to take the points if I can get them. So give me UCF.
All right, we got a little agreement here. Sun Belt Championship game. Let's go there. First, that doesn't feature Appalachian State and Louisiana. Troy playing host to Coastal Carolina in this one. The Chanticleers are only in this game because James Madison is ineligible as they transition from FCS. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. Nevertheless, they've won 3 straight against the Trojans by a combined 12 points. Troy is favored by 7.5. Totals 48. Chip, what's the play?
That's too many daggum points. Nah, for this game, this is going to be a lower scoring game. This is going to be very, very tight. And I do think that we are going to see Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall give it a go. And this might be the last time that we've got the band together, right? Because Jamie Chadwell is getting wooed by millions of dollars, potentially going to Liberty. You know, this Coastal Carolina team, they might find themselves into the transfer portal. And so I think that what we've got is one last chance for Coastal Carolina to try to pull this together and capitalize on what has been a really, really impressive 3-year run for this program. They have put Coastal on the map in the last 3 seasons in a way that was rarely expected when they first made the jump into the Sun Belt. Now we're talking about them as one of the top Group of 5 programs around. I think that this is going to be an inspired performance, not the kind of performance where Coastal checks out given all the extra factors. And so I will take all the points with the Chanticleers.
I'm going to take the under. Now, I liked it a lot better earlier this week when it was at 49. It has come down to 48, and I think that is heading in the proper direction because I look at this matchup. Chip, you mentioned it. Grayson McCall might play today, but it was a few weeks ago when they announced that Grayson McCall would be out for the season. So if the injury was serious enough to rule him out for the rest of the year, then I really doubt he's going to be anything close to 100% today if he does play, which will have a tremendous impact on what this Coastal offense is capable of doing. And this is a good Coastal team. The reason Jamie Chadwell is being mentioned for other jobs like Liberty, and he was, Georgia Tech was interested, South Florida's been interested, is because he's done a fantastic job putting this program on the map. But I don't think this Coastal team is as good as the Chanticleers teams we've seen in recent years. Meanwhile, this Troy team has been excellent all season long, and it is a team built on its defense that does not allow anybody to put up points on it, and it is not a team that generally gets in high-scoring games. So I look at this one with a Coastal offense that is probably going to be playing at less than 100% against what's probably the best defense in the Sun Belt. Give me the under. I don't know who's going to cover. I think Troy wins, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game.
Let's move on to the blue turf in Boise for the Mountain West Championship game between Boise State and Fresno State. These teams are combined 14-1 in their last 15 games. The only loss is the Broncos' win over the Bulldogs back in October. Boise State 3-point favorites at home with an over-under of 54.5. Tom, where is the edge in this one?
I look at this Boise State team. You mentioned they beat Fresno earlier in the year. This is a team that, when it's played in the Mountain West, has been dominant. Early in the year, they got off to a slow start in their non-conference play. They made some big changes. Hank Bachmeier, the starting quarterback, was replaced by Talon Green. The offensive coordinator was fired and replaced by Dirk Cutter. And ever since they've made those changes, this has been a completely different Boise State offense, a far more explosive Boise State offense, and they have run roughshod through the rest of the Mountain West. I look at them going into this game against a Fresno State team who has one of my favorite players in the country, and Jake Haener, who is college football's answer to Monty Python's Black Knight. This is a good team. It is a good offense, but that Fresno State defense is a weakness that it has to overcome, whereas the Boise State Broncos have the best defense in the conference. So when you combine that explosive offense with a terrific defense and a spread this short, I'm going to lay the points with the Broncos. I think they're the better team here, and they've been the best team in the Mountain West all season long.
Yeah, 100% with you. We just lay them with the Broncos, and we do not look back. This is a spot where normally I try to get on the other side of Boise playing at home, just believing that the market and the casual fan might overrate the home field advantage of the Smurf turf, especially with, the California boys coming into town. But I think that this comes down to the physicality at the line of scrimmage and Boise State's ability to run the football against this Fresno State defense. George Halani has been so good all season. Talon Green is able to add some dynamic plays in the run game as well. And so I think that Boise State, as Tom mentioned, which boasts the Mountain West's best defense, I think it is also their physicality at home against this Fresno State defense. They will run the football, they will run it well, and they will cover this short number.
All right, Tom Fornelli and Chip Patterson, guys, thank you so much. A recap of the afternoon picks. Both Chip and Tom, like UCF, getting 4 points against Tulane in the AAC title game. They also have Boise State winning the Mountain West. Chip has Coastal Carolina getting 7.5 in the Sun Belt, while Tom is taking the under in Troy, Alabama.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.